Whether you have kids or not, how important is it to buy a home in a good school district? That's the question we're going to answer on today's episode. Hi, I'm Josh Alexander and your host of Orange County Housing Market News, your one-stop shop for all things Orange County real estate. So like I just said, we're going to be going over some data on how important it is for you to buy a home in a good school district and if it's something you should focus on when you're trying to purchase your new home. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of this episode where I give you the resources you need to determine what school systems will be best for you and give out my personal recommendations for the top cities to look at if you're trying to find the best schools in Orange County. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I don't know about you, but right now my social media feeds are flooded with pictures of kids going back to school. In Orange County, either the kids have already gone back to school or they will be in the next week or two, depending on what district you're in. So I figured what better time to talk about how important it is to be looking at the school district when choosing where you want to buy your next home. So it's pretty obvious that if you have a kid that's school age, one of the top criteria that you're going to have is to try to find a home that's in a great school district. That way you know your kid is getting a good education, and it's one of the top priorities for many parents. And I've seen that firsthand from all the parents that have helped purchase a house, because it's pretty universal for parents to want their kids to get a great education. But what if you're on the opposite side of that spectrum? So let's say you don't have kids and you're not planning on having kids. How much weight should you be giving to finding a house that's in a good school district? Does it really matter for you if it's not really going to personally affect you? Let's go ahead and take a look. So it's been shown time and time again, study after study, that if you live in an area that has a better school district, you're going to have more stable home prices, especially in difficult real estate years. Your house is going to appreciate more, and you're just going to have overall more demand for that house. Now, if you just bought a home, that might not be the first thing on your mind is how much am I going to be able to sell this home for later, but it's something that you should be considering when you're trying to purchase a house, because you always want to know in the back of your head that there will be demand for your house no matter the market. So let's go ahead and look at how much demand you'll be able to expect living in an area with a good school district versus one that's not so great. So to do this, let's go ahead and look at the National Association of Realtors Home Buyer and Seller Generational Trend Report for 2022. It breaks everything down to generations to figure out what's most important to them and a bunch of other cool statistics that we'll go into in a different episode. But let's focus on the schooling systems for now. So if you subscribe to my channel, you probably know by now that millennials are buying more homes than anyone else. They're the largest generation purchasing homes. In fact, they make up about 43% of all homes purchased right now. So needless to say, whatever millennials are looking for is something that anybody that owns a house should be paying attention to, because those trends are going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years. So if you look at the data showing what is important to millennials when they're determining what neighborhood to look at, you can see that 30 to 40% of all millennials rate finding the right school district very high, and it is one of their top priorities when looking for a home. And when you break these numbers down even further and look at just the older millennials, 32 to 41, which are more likely to purchase a home right now, you can see that they're rating the school district just as high as the affordability and how close it is to family and friends. So needless to say, they're rating it very high on their list when they're looking for a home. And the last thing I want to point out on this graph is if you take out all the different generations and just look at home buyers as a whole, right now 23% of all home buyers are rating finding a home in a good school district one of their top priorities. So you can see that demand for homes that are in good school districts are going to remain high, especially through the millennial years as millennials continue purchasing homes at a much faster rate than anybody else. And to dive into how important finding the right school is to the majority of buyers, I wanted to bring up this last chart. Now, this last chart actually shocked me when I read the information because I wasn't expecting such dramatic results from how important the school systems would be. So if you look at this chart right here, this is basically showing you once the home buyer actually purchased the house, what did they end up compromising on most when buying that house? And if you look at this graph here, you can see the two things that they compromised on the least are going to be the school district and how close it is to that school. They ended up compromising on the price, the square footage, how close it was to work, how close it was to family and friends, more than they did on finding a home in a good school district. Home buyers are walking the walk and talking the talk. When they say that finding a home in a good school district is one of their top priorities, and they compromise on that priority the least, you can start to understand how important it is to find a home that's in a good school district if you want to be able to make sure you always have good demand for your house, your home appreciates, and it's going to be more stable during any type of down markets. So if you're thinking of buying a home, even if you don't have kids, I highly recommend that you at least consider looking at the school ratings when you're making a decision on where you want your next home to be. Now, how do you go about doing that? Well, there's a couple ways. You can go to some of the basic websites that will give you school ratings like greatschools.org, like niche.com, like schooldigger.com. All these will have a bunch of information for you in terms of average test scores, student to teacher ratios, and great information for you that have kids as well as don't, just to understand the quality of the schools around you. So what about Orange County? Where are the best school districts in Orange County? Well, if you're looking for good schools, you're going to be able to find good schools in pretty much every city throughout Orange County. However, it will be harder to find an area that has a good elementary, middle, and high school all within the same spot. So those are going to be a little bit more difficult to find. And even harder to find is a city that throughout the entire city is going to have good education no matter where you live. But some of the top cities you should consider looking at if you're trying to find good education from K through 12 throughout the entire city, and these school districts are continuously rated very high, is going to be Irvine, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, and Yorba Linda. Those school systems in general, if you're looking through the entire city, are going to have the most consistently high ratings out of everywhere in Orange County. Yes, again, you're going to be able to find great school systems in every city throughout Orange County. However, those ones tend to have the highest concentration of good quality school systems. So if you're looking for the best quality schools, that's a good place to start. Now, real quick, if you are finding this content useful and you want to see more of it, make sure you don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and that bell button below if you're watching this on YouTube. That way you're notified every single week when I release a new episode. And if you have any family or friends that might find this information useful, I would love it if you share it with them. I want to get this information out to as many people in Orange County as possible. So until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you on the next show. Bye.